right, Nick, let's break it down. What do you think the Raptors need to do to beat the Warriors in the finals now?
All right, so there are some small things, and then we'll go small to large. Danny Green, you got to make your shots, man. Danny Green is too valuable of a defender to where he's playing 14 minutes because he's missing open corner threes. Has the best.
And he missed him a lot in the conference finals.
And in the conference finals, he was just horrific. The previous two rounds, he was really bad. For the playoffs, he's been 31% after a season where he was career-high 45%. But he once hit 27 threes in an NBA Finals that went 7 games. He then, I think, hit 22 in an NBA Finals that went 5 games. He has great finals experience. He's got to do that again this series.
Now's the time when you have that thing is, hey, Chris, he's playing so bad it can't get any worse.
It can't get
That's
worse
where he is
Danny
right
Green.
now, because he is going to have open looks tonight, especially early in the game. And that becomes important, Nick, too, because if he's restricted to 14, 16 minutes a game, it puts extra stress on the bench.
And it compromises their defense.
Yes.
Danny Green has to be out there. He has to provide on offense so he can be out there on defense. Danny Green is going to be on Klay Thompson. I am confident of that. Danny Green is one of a handful of Raptors who are all defensive team members in their career. So you've got to do that. You've got to win the rebounding battle. But first and foremost, you have to slow the Warriors down. You cannot get in a shootout with them. I know it's going to sound like a kind of obscure number, but the Warriors have played 99 playoff games the last 5 years. Tonight will be their 100th. They are 65-9. 65-9 if they score at least 104 points. They're almost unbeatable if they get just a little over 100. Less than 104, they're 10-15. Wow. So that's what it is. You can beat them 98-94. You can beat them like the Cavs did in Game 7 in Oracle, 93-89. You cannot beat them 121-118. That's the way the Clippers tried to get in that series with them.
Yes.
And they got diluted because in that 31-point comeback, they did beat them in a high-scoring game. You have to. Kawhi's won Defensive Player of the Year. Gasol's won Defensive Player of the Year. Danny Green's been an all-defensive team member. Ibaka has been. Pascal Siakam will be one day. Kyle Lowry probably should have been a couple years ago. You have an all-defensive team as your team. That has to be the strength for Toronto.
Yeah, they have to be able to make the series physical. If you look at Golden State in these 5 years, Jenna, they've been in the finals. Only one time, that was Cleveland 2015, that they were being held under a pace of 100. Cleveland came back in that series.
2016.
Yes,
in
2016. It came back from a 3-1 deficit. It was because of defense. It's the thing that's hurt Cleveland the last couple years. They weren't good defensively. They had enough offense, even with the limited shooters LeBron had around him, limited scoring opportunities had around him. They just weren't good defensively enough. Toronto is the opposite. They are an elite defensive team, and defense starts with rebounding. They have to have a huge margin as far as the rebounding advantage. Now, Toronto is not a great rebounding team, so the thing about it is you want to build slow Golden State down on the fast break, which you talked about, slowing down the pace of the game, which we know that's the way that they were defeated with the Cavs and how the Cavs came back on them. That's also the recipe that they had for Giannis to slow him down after game number 2. Slow the pace down. In those last 4 wins by Toronto, the pace of the Bucks was at 94 points a game. That would have been the slowest in the NBA during the regular season. So rebounding the basketball, slow the pace down, and the other players have to play well. Norman Powell, you might not know his name. If you don't know his name after tonight's game, that means he didn't come off the bench to be able to give them that double threat that he was against Milwaukee, shooting the 3, and he's also very, very athletic getting to the cup. Van Fleet needs to be able to hit. I'm talking about the way he was shooting the basketball. If he shoots the basketball that way, it's going to open up other things for Kawhi.
And can you get Steph in foul trouble? Can you? The Raptors don't run the pick and roll the way the Cavs did in these finals. And the reason we're going to keep bringing up the Cavs is it's the only team the Warriors have played in these finals over the last 5 years is the Cavs. And they would, when they won the championship, they just ran pick and roll at Steph again and again and again. It led to some foul trouble, which means he then has to be a little more cautious on defense. If you get by him with a step, he lets you go in for the layup because he can't get another foul. Can the Raptors do that on one end? And on the other end, how will the Raptors defend the Draymond Green, Steph Curry pick and roll? Will they put Kawhi on Draymond so he can show on Steph and recover? Will they switch it? That is something no team's been able to answer for 5 years, defending that play. Draymond, Steph pick and roll, that could go a long way to determining this series.
The Raptors are going to need some help when the Warriors have struggled. Not this year when they struggled, it was a little bit different, but they turned the ball over. If you can get Steph to be careless with the ball. Now, I do like the fact that you mentioned the foul trouble, but I would not only just say Steph. Steph gets a lot of fouls. You're like, why? What kind of position did he put himself? He gets useless fouls, but Klay with his assignment on Kawhi, Draymond with the type of assignments and type of defense he's going to have to play, I believe those three, if any one of those get into foul trouble, then you have to go to that Warriors bench. If Toronto want to win, you got to be able to get one of those big three for the Warriors in foul trouble immediately.
And quickly, before we do our picks, see, you keep talking about the importance for Toronto if they're going to win this series. They don't have to necessarily go up 2-0 at home, but they've got to win tonight in your mind.
Yes.
The importance of not giving away home court immediately. I read this right before the segment started. I couldn't believe it. Over the last 15 years, home teams, for Game 1 of the NBA Finals, have only lost one time. Since 2005,
wow,
there's only been one loss by the home team of Game 1 of the Finals. It was the Spurs in 2013 were the team that was able to win that game. They ended up going on to lose that series to the Miami Heat. But that is, it is incumbent upon the Raptors to hold home court if they can and put the Warriors in a very unfamiliar position since they are 18-1 in Game 1s under Steve Kerr.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jenna.
No, I was going to get ready for picks. Do you have something to say before I ask you?
This is the thing about the picks, all right? I had to go to our research staff. Jenna and I collaborated on this.
All morning, Nick. That's why we were in there.
And we believe in the storyline compared to who's the best team. Golden State, with all the experience that they have, they're a better team on paper. But the Kawhi Leonard story, since he was traded, has been the theme of the playoffs. The buzzer beater against Philadelphia, game number 7. Shutting down your future NBA best player in the world, Giannis, 4 straight games. Jen and I have decided, and man, this is tough for us. We are going to go with the Raptors. They get it done tonight, and they win the series in 7. We almost took them in 6. I was like, slow down, Jenna. Pump your brakes. 7 games, Raptors, on their home court. Confetti comes down. Drake, I know you're not going to like this.
Drake partying with the NBA.
What a story. Come on.
Larry O'Brien trophy.
What a story.
That is an amazing story. And if that happens, that will absolutely not only put a capstone on this unbelievable postseason by Kawhi, but it will make Kawhi the best player in the world. If he goes through Embiid, and then Giannis, and then Steph, and maybe KD. But there's a different story that I think this is going to be told in this postseason. And that is this 5-year run of Golden State basketball ending in the final game ever at Oracle, Game 6, with confetti raining down over them. I think Steph and Klay, I got Warriors in 6. I think Steph and Klay proved to the entire basketball world Kevin Durant was a luxury and not a necessity. I think this is Steph Curry's crowning moment of his postseason career. He is on the greatest short run he's ever been on in the postseason, averaging 36, 8, and 7 since Kevin Durant went down. I think he keeps that going. I think asking Kawhi Leonard to what they're going to ask of him, as brilliant as he's been, but after going 7 against Philly, and then after having to guard Giannis while averaging 30 in the conference finals, to have to either chase Steph around or chase Klay around or guard Draymond and provide 30 a night is a little too much for Kawhi. I don't know that he'll be able to do it over the length of the series. I think the Warriors experience. The Warriors end up winning their 4th championship in 5 years and their 3rd in a row in Game 6 at home at Oracle.
Well, you're both wrong. It's going to end in a tie. Who wins tonight?
I'm going Raptors win tonight.
You're going Raptors win Game
Raptors
1, definitely without KD.
Start. Yes, Golden State tries to make the big comeback in the 3rd. Raptors hold them off. Kawhi is sensational in the 4th.
Game 1?
I got the very rested and very confident Golden State Warriors in a very good game, but they steal home court, and it sets the tone for the series.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.